This client's credit score is up 111 points across the board. When you add it all up, we got 5 plus 69 plus 37, 111 points across the board. And in this video, I'm going to give you access to a free collection dispute letter, just in case that serves you well. Stick around to the very end. We got a packed one. Hopefully this benefits you or someone you know. Consider clicking like. Consider hitting that bell notification so you don't miss out on this type of information plus more. And consider sharing this with somebody else that you feel may benefit, and subscribe if I haven't said that already. What up? You got Mr. Smith, 0.5 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and in this brief video I want to talk about a credit testimony from a client and point out something that's very instrumental for you to understand on your credit restoration journey, whether you do it yourself or you're helping a client, helping someone else. So either way, I think it's something for you to really understand and digest. And we preach this all the time, but this is a great opportunity to prove what it is that we preach. And then we'll get into the free credit letter, things of that nature. So you can expect to learn something. Hopefully you learn and then apply, and then I give you what you came for, which may be that free credit letter. Now, one thing I really want you to point out, and of course this person's report is still growing, so we still got some work to do, but they entered into the 600s in 2 accounts. You know, initially all 3 of these was in the 500s, but when you take that 69, they were in the 500s, and boom, we're in the 6 now. So they went from bad to fair. You know, and this poor score, that 608, is definitely going to be in the fair area, and then ultimately, of course, we want to get them to the excellent. But this is a client of ours, and what I want you to know is that there was no items deleted on this report this time when we refreshed. Now, we had some other items deleted at another time, and at the time of this recording, you know, I believe they had another refresh day where we had some items deleted. But what I want you to point out is that they score went up 111 points, and in this particular round, no items were deleted. What does that mean, Mr. Smith? What that means is that building your credit is not just about getting items deleted. And the reason why I find myself repeating it is because a lot of times people think that it's just about getting items deleted. That's one part of it, but understand that it's a holistic approach that you need to take, or perspective that you need to take in terms of how your score operates. And it's things that you can be doing month after month, even if you're not trying to go through credit restoration. This is just things you can be doing on a monthly basis in order to help your credit score go up. And that's paying all bills on time. And I say all bills, not just loans or debts, because we're moving into a range of where more than just loans and debt will be counted towards your credit report. What do I mean? Well, at one point, you could not claim your rent in order to get credit. Well, if you partner with the right company, you can start getting credit for the rent that you pay. We also have a link down there below. If you click it, you know, you can click a link that'll show you how to get paid and get credit for paying your rent, which is perfect if you want to segue from renting to home ownership. Secondly, what you have to understand is that if you're paying your rent and getting credit for it, and you're not taking, and that's not a loan, that means, you know, we're moving in a different direction. Experian boost. A lot of people use Experian Boost to give themselves a, you know, extra boost. How are they able to do that? Well, they're taking things like your streaming services, your phone bill, you know, utility bills perhaps, and now they're taking that information and calculating it into your good payment history, which gives you a boost in your score. Has nothing to do with debt or, you know, a loan that you took out. They're just literally taking something you're already doing and converting it into positive payment history. So what that means is that we're moving to a phase to where it's going to be almost everything counting towards your credit. So what you need to do is get in the habit of paying all bills on time, ahead of time. So that way, that's helping you build your score passively without you even thinking about it. You're just doing what you need to be doing anyway. In addition to that, you got to understand that you want to have credit utilization low. If you have any credit cards, whether department store, personal card, security card, make sure you're keeping that utilization low. Our definition of low is 9% or less. A lot of people say 30%, divide by 3. No, 9% or less. 9% or less. And it's okay to carry a balance. It's okay to use it, but get in the habit of carrying it 9% or less, especially if you understand the statement date and when it reports, so that way you can keep it low or under 9% when they actually report to the bureaus. That's a whole nother conversation. But make sure you're keeping that utilization low, even if you use it and pay it off weekly. Never spend money that you don't have, because otherwise you fall victim to getting too much credit card debt. Ask me how I know. We've done it before, and we understand the importance of it now more than ever. So we want to make sure we employ that same experience and information to you. So keep that utilization low. Payment history, low credit utilization is a win-win strategy, and now you're boosting your score. Also, at certain times, you can add certain things to your account, whether it's an authorized user, whether that's applying for a new credit that gives you another trade line, and that's basically just an extra account that can help boost your score. So even though this person didn't get anything deleted, them having a few things added help increase their score, plus the positive things that they were doing anyway, which is what I recommend, keeping their utilization low and making on-time payments. So if you take nothing away from this, understand that it's not just about getting things deleted. That's great. You can either do that yourself or hire us for our services, but this client decided to hire us, and we're giving them guidance on things that they can do. And for everybody who applies what it is that we teach, they can get some good benefits. And, we're also working on their behalf, getting things cleaned up, getting certain things that may be negative updated to positive, deleting certain things that need to be deleted. And it's a process, not an overnight thing. A person didn't mess their credit score up in 6 years, so you can't possibly expect to get quick results in 6 days, 6 weeks. It's a process, so go through that process. But I just wanted to highlight this particular client and educate you on the fact that even though nothing was deleted, it still served a purpose. Now, in addition to that, I said I had a free credit letter for you that I want to share. So let's get into it. Now, this is a letter specific to a person who is going against a collection. So this is a collection dispute letter. And, of course, my letters look like this because the system I use requires it to have brackets and things of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead and title this because it wasn't titled, just for my own sanity. All right. Now, mine has these brackets, but basically, if you're doing this for yourself, then you know what to put. If you're doing it for someone else, you know what to put. So this will be the client's name, address, the creditor name, who you're contesting or collection agency, their address, or their full address, the current date, dispute of collections, action, case number, boom, whatever the case number. And I'm going to read this and kind of educate on it at the same time, but as I scroll through, this will be an opportunity for you to get some screenshots. You can, that's your way of getting the letter. Just by every time I pause on the screen, it's a good opportunity for you to get the letter. But stick around to the end because it's some things and verbiage in here that you might want to understand, so you're just not getting the screenshots and just sending it without understanding the thought process that goes into this. So, that being said, all right, dispute collection action case number this. If collection agency has sent written notice, your case number is likely in the letter. If you have not received a written notice from a creditor or collection agency, tailor this line accordingly. For example, show the date you were contacted by the collection agency and or identify the creditor by name if you can. So this is just a note to you. So make sure this is not in the letter. You want to have this deleted, but just wanted you to understand what's being said right there. So, 2, person whose name appears on the agency notice, you put that there, and then you have this date. On this date, I was contacted by name of person who called you or of agency, as much as you know, who informed me that, and then you include the name of the collection agency, is attempting to collect X amount. This individual collecting information and collecting on behalf of this creditor, because it's the creditor that they collected it from. So in other words, the company that you may have had a relationship with sold the debt out to the collection agency. So whatever the company is that you had the actual relationship with initially before they sold it, you put it there. Or this individual will not tell me for whom they're supposed to be collecting, because sometimes they may not tell you. So if that's the case, put that in there, because that's proof that they may not be operating accordingly. This is another angle you can take. On this date, I received a written notice of the claim debt, a copy of which is attached. So this is to inform you that I dispute the debt because whatever the reason is. So it could be, I don't recognize it, I don't understand it, I didn't have an agreement with them, I'm paid in full, whatever the case may be. So you can put that there. The agency has mistaken you with someone else, or the debt has been paid, include copies, not originals, but copies. That's very important, of any correspondence that support your dispute. I am hereby requesting that you confirm the fact that I owe this debt as required by any applicable state or federal laws. Please contact the creditor to obtain verification. So this makes them have to prove that you actually owe the debt by any applicable state and federal laws. So you're holding them to the fire. Okay, it's one thing for them to say that you owe, but prove it by going to the original creditor to get verification. And that's important to include for so many different reasons, but I don't want to make the video longer than what it has to be. But in a nutshell, it's important for them to prove that, because sometimes the creditor doesn't have those things on file no more because they sold it out to collections. But if they don't have it on file and can't prove it, then that's their fault, and you are able to get certain things cleaned up because of it. In addition, under the provisions of state and federal Fair Debt Collecting Practices Act, so the FDCPA basically, and the FCRA, and related consumer statutes, I'm hereby instructing you to cease collection of the debt while efforts are made to obtain verification. So cease collection. Don't even worry about collecting. First, you got to verify this. Validate is really, what they have to do. They have to validate this before they even try to collect. Until you resolve this error with the creditor, you should neither contact me nor anyone else except the creditor about this collection. In other words, fall back. Fall back. You hollering at me, but you ain't did your part. So when you do your part, then I'll do my part if it's meant for me to do my part. But if not, get it off and go find somebody else to play with. That's all you're saying. Furthermore, any reporting of this matter to credit reporting agencies is premature. In other words, they jumped the gun. They're doing something prematurely because they haven't done something else they were supposed to do. Until you have investigated my dispute, you should not relay negative information to a credit reporting agency. If negative information has already been reported, you must notify the agency to remove said report until the investigative process is over, so that my credit report remains accurate. Or, at the very least, my credit report should be updated to reflect my dispute. So sometimes they may report it, and it makes your credit report inaccurate because they didn't do their part. So if they didn't do their part, then they need to remove it or update it or not even put it on there in the first place. All right? Your next contact with me should be to either notice that the creditor has failed to provide verification of the debt and that the matter has been closed, or that you believe that this debt is valid and are providing proof of my responsibility. If the former, please confirm that I am not being held responsible for the debt in writing, and also that if the account has already been noted on my credit report, that you will contact the bureaus in question to have the account removed. If the latter, I expect that you will provide me with an explanation as to why you have decided not to remove this account from collection, and a copy of all documents relevant to the debt, such as the application, bills, records of communication and payments, and any other data that indicates my responsibility. So they gave two options. So if you're doing one, then I want you to do this. But if you're doing the latter, do this. So basically it says your next contact with me should be either to notice that the creditor has failed to provide verification. So if they're doing that, then make sure you do this. Please confirm that I'm not being held responsible. That's what you need to do. If they haven't proven verification, you need to notify me that I'm not being held responsible. However, if it's the latter and you're saying it is validated, then I expect you to provide with an explanation as to why, basically, in a nutshell. And then it says, I'm instructing you not to contact any third party, such as my employer, neighbors, friends, family members. Basically, don't harass me and my people. In addition, you may not contact me by phone, at work, or at my home because this collection activity, all further correspondence should be sent to me in writing. If you wish to still speak to a collector by phone, indicate the times when it is okay to contact you, or note the name, address, and phone number of your attorney if you have retained one. So basically right here, if you don't mind hopping on the phone with them, then give them some guidelines to which they can contact you, or connect them with your attorney. Please acknowledge that you have received this notice by, and you can pick a date, and it says that's 2 weeks from the date of the letter, just so that way when they receive it, they've got it by that date. And now the ticking clock starts to which they have to address this. Sincerely, You can sign it. You don't have to. You can put your first and last name. So this is pretty much a collections letter that, you know, is loaded with some verbiage that I think will help someone. If this doesn't directly help you, definitely, if you know some people who got collections, share it with somebody who you feel may benefit. But I know this is a letter that, you know, can definitely be a benefit due to the verbiage and due to them having to do their part. See, a lot of times we feel as though we're what's the word I'm looking for? Not weak, but we're subject, not subject. It'll come to me. A lot of times we feel like, you know, we don't have any other options. Helpless, I think is the word I was looking for. We're helpless in certain scenarios. When in this case, it's laws that protect us. And these laws which is a little different from regular laws, these laws are more accessible and more understandable to the common individual, or to the, you know, the everyday individual. So we want to make sure these laws are being applied and they're being protected. Otherwise, they're doing things that they should not be doing, and your score is lower than it has to be. And we're all about helping you increase your score, because that allows you to increase your opportunities, lower your interest, things of that nature. So hopefully this video helped you from start to finish. Share it with somebody you feel may benefit. If you like videos like these, definitely leave a comment below and let us know. Like, subscribe, and also if you have a specific scenario or letter that you want access to, I do a video just like this and give you access to another free letter. Just our way of giving back and saying, hey, you know, we feel as though we have more than enough, but we definitely want to empower others so they can have more than enough as well. That's all I got, Mr. Smith, .5 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, signing out.